Hey everybody, good morning from Cambodia. I am Brooke, this is the Uke Revolution, and today is a quick lesson for Fly Me to the Moon. Fortunately, this is pretty straightforward, as with a lot of old kind of jazz standard American songbook songs. Rhythmically, fairly straightforward, a lot of chord changes, but rhythmically not too crazy. We're going to look at the chord shapes, chords for each part. There's a verse A and a verse B, and I'll show you how to change the end of verse B a little bit so you can end the song. And we'll talk briefly about strumming. This arrangement that I made is in G. Frank Sinatra version is in C. There's a lot of lessons around the uke verse for Fly Me to the Moon. So I picked a key that I like to sing it in, but also gives us like a fairly simple set of chords considering what we have to do. This one will be a bit more comfortable for female vocalists. If you need to find parts of the lesson, there will be timestamps after the live stream. If you want to get the PDF arrangement for this song, you can find it on Ko-fi. The link is in the caption. If you join as a monthly member, then you access a whole library, over 500 song sheets now at the time of this recording, and we add new ones all the time. So we have E minor 7, A minor 7, D7, G major 7, there's our G, and G7, C major 7, B7, E7. Sometimes I sort of subconsciously play the E7 bar that's on the 4th fret, so you can bar the 4th fret and then you put your middle finger on the A string of the 5th fret. This is also a kind of E7. And then G6, and you might notice G6 is the same position as E minor 7. Chords that have the same tones. If you played them on a keyboard, you might notice more if it's E minor 7 or G6. But, oh, we have one more chord. It is F sharp minor 7 flat 5. F sharp minor 7 flat 5. It's a 2-finger chord. We have the 5th fret, the G string, and the 6th fret, the C string. So you can sort of think about it as like an F major 7, but you move your middle finger up 1 fret. It's notated on the song sheet as 5600. So that's a weird chord that's coming in, just to give you a heads up. And then let's look at the chords for each different part. So the strum that we're going to do today is ye old island strum. We're in 4/4. We have 4 beats in every bar or every measure. So in between all of these forward slashes are 1 bar. There's 4 beats inside each one. So for most of this song, we've got changing every 4 beats. Sometimes we'll have 2 chords in a bar and then they get 2 beats each. So you can do a down, up, down, down, up, down, up, or you could do a down, chunk up, whichever you like to do. So for verse A, this will be Fly Me to the Moon. We have E minor 7 for 4, A minor 7 for 4, D7 for 4, G major 7 for 2, and G7 for 2. Second line, we have C major 7 for 4, then there's that weird F 2-finger chord up here for 4, B7 for 4, E minor 7 for 2, and E7 for 2. Third line, A minor 7 for 4, D7 for 4, G major 7 for 4, A minor 7 for 2, E7 for 2. And the last line, A minor 7 for 4, D7 for 4, G major 7 for 4, just like we did in the third line. The F sharp thingy up here for 2 and B7 for 2. As for changing from the F sharp minor to the B7, if you use your P sign fingers, then when you move to the B7, this pointer finger is going to bar. So you can kind of anchor yourself on that G string to put the bar in place. So we're coming from the 5th fret, and you can almost keep that pointer finger touching the string as an anchor to get to B7. Tiny tips. Welcome to Big Brooks Tiny Tips. We're going to play it very slowly with the island strum. And sometimes my island strum might be chunky, and sometimes it might not. It's the way it is, y'all. Da, 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 one. I would try to go pretty slow. Frank Sinatra's version is way slower than I remembered, by the way, when I listened to it yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4. The E minor 7. I'm going to slow it down even more. A, D, G, D, C, F thingy, B7, E, A third line, D, G, A, E, A, D, G, F, B. In regards to strumming, should have noted for you on these bars that have 2 chords in them, I'm just strumming down, 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 down. Well, down chunk really. Down, chunk, down, chunk. That top one with the 2 different G's, G major 7, G7. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, G. You can also use the strum pattern. If you use the strum pattern, you're going to strum the first chord down, down, and the second chord in the bar up, up, down, up. Or up, up, chunk, up, down, chunk, up, chunk, up. Whichever little version of island strum you're using. When I'm playing this song, I tend to put a chunk on the 4 every time because it gives you time to change chords. It gives you time to change chords. This is why chunks are handy. Let's do the C major 7 to that F sharp thing. So that's a big switch. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, C. See that last beat? 4. It's a chunk on the 4, and you already start moving to the next chord. Little teeny tricks for little things. Tiny tips. Tiny tricks and tips. Too bad my name doesn't start with D. Let's look at the part B chords. So this is the Fill My Heart With Song verse. Mostly it's just like verse A. We got the same first 2 lines. When we get to the third line, it's a little bit different. We've got A minor 7 for 4, D7 for 4, A minor 7 for 4, and E7 for 4. And the last line, A minor 7 for 4, D7 for 4, G6, remember G6 is the same shape as E minor 7. I could have put E minor 7 for all the G6s. I'm keeping it real. Theoretically, we're keeping it real. We're going to call it what it's supposed to be called. The F thing for 2 and the B7 for 2. So this ending is if you were going to carry on and repeat the song. So what happens is we go verse A, verse B, verse A, verse B, verse A, verse B. Just back and forth as much as you want. We're going to use this last line of verse B to just wrap right back around to the beginning, to verse A. If you want to end the song, though, you need to change this line. So this line, whenever you decide to end the song, instead of playing this, you're going to play this. So this is A minor 7, D7, B minor 7, E7, everything 4. A minor 7, D7, and then E minor 7 at the end. So this is the Frank Sinatra type ending. So I'm going to play through verse B 2 times. The first time I'll use this line, and then the second time I'll use the ending line. Up, chunk, up, down, down, up, chunk, up, 1, 2, 3, 4. E minor 7, A minor 7. I'm slowing down. G, G, C, F, B, E, A, D, A, E, A. The last line, G6, and then we're gonna wrap it around and verse B. B7, going to the third line, A, remember, after this line, we're going to that ending line. A. We're on that final line. B. E. A. D. E. And this last bar of E minor 7, we don't really play the whole thing. You can if you want. I just stopped on the 1. But technically, the end of the song will finish on the 4th beat of that. So what we're going to do now is I'll put up the lyrics for each part and we'll go through it. I fashioned a little intro. This is just the last 2 lines of verse A. So on this intro thing, 1, 2, 3, and 4, get the A minor 7, D. I mean, of course, for practicing, you don't want to go pretty good little pace. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter or Mars. Other words, please be true to hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Okay, let me drag up verse B here, and we'll go through that one, and then we'll play the whole thing together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, here we go. Fill my heart with song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. You're right back to part A. There's no interluding of things. You just keep on trucking. So I'm gonna play the whole thing in rabbit ears. Intro, verse A, verse B, and then I'm gonna go right back to verse A. We'll do a little solo verse, and then I'm gonna play verse B again with the ending line. So we're gonna put the whole thing on the screen. It's nice when I'm able to put the whole thing on the screen. Also, I wanted to tell you that the singing note you can find if you play the E minor 7 chord. It's the G string. Fly, 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 fly me to the moon, fly me to the moon. So on this intro thingy, 1, 2, 3, here we go. A minor 7, D, G, A, B, A, G, G, and up a dump, yeah, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on a Jupiter or Mars. In other words, hold my hand. Hold it. In other words, baby, kiss me on the lips, yeah. Fill my heart with song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. And we're going back to verse A. Hit it. song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, see, we're on the last line, and in other words, E7. In other words, I love you. Hey. If you find the G6 a weird ending, you can end on a G or a G major 7. I think. Let me check. I love you. Yeah, that is it. I don't think there's any other little notes to share. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Thank you for your support. Special thanks to all members over on Coffee. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody. Happy strumming. See you later.